Well, Marvel, you gave me something different. Sort of. Hi guys, it's Stephen Geekface. I'm back again with another review for yourself here today, which is for the film called Eternals, which is Marvel's new latest movie with a big, large ensemble cast, directed by Chloe Zhao, whose film No Man Land, I liked it visually, but I just thought it was overrated, a bit slow, but visually it looked nice. So when I saw she was going to be the new director for this new ensemble of heroes, I was intrigued. The trailer didn't do it for me as much. I didn't see anything that was like, oh my god, I've got to watch this film now. But as I said, I was still intrigued with with the ensemble of cast they had and the director behind the camera, and exploring. It's another MCU Marvel movie, so let's see where this one goes. Now, I know some of you comic book fans are going to be angry at me, but I don't really know much about Eternals. I've read like one issue and it didn't grip me. So when they were going to make this movie, I was a bit, I was like, why are they making this? This is giving me the Inhumans vibe when they were trying to make that film previously, and then they made a series and it didn't turn out well and they just pretend it didn't happen. So I was like, why are you doing this? But I was like, it's Marvel. They're in their creative bag. They can try new things now. I think we've earned their trust to give us something different that we don't know about, and it's good to see something different. The film focused on 10 demigods who've lived on Earth for thousands of years, who've never interfered but had an influence on the world's civilization. And then when something really bad happens, that they will have to now interfere to save the planet. It's your typical superhero mumbo jumbo. On that case, how does this film do? The cast is so diverse. It's probably one of the most diverse superheroes I've seen on the screen ever. It covers from everything from people's sexuality, disability, race, religion, all kinds of background is covered for the most part in this film, and it was good to see that on the big screen, and especially one particular where Marvel, well, mostly Disney, have been trying to promote this in some of their films over the years, particular sexuality on the screen, and I've always thought they've just fumbled it and it's just been a bit off, but this time it feels a bit more fleshed out and it felt more genuine in this one. So kudos for them for giving that type of cast in this movie. Action with this was really good. It's a typical Marvel film in terms of the action, loads of great effects. CGI was good for the most part. Visually it looked nice. There was very nice beautiful shots, as I expected from Chloe Zhao. I liked the relationship between the characters. The dialogue was witty. There were some characters, which I won't say, which I'm trying to keep this non-spoiler, but there were some characters who was the highlight for me. Very funny, witty, and some, they didn't get much part in the film, but they did the most they can for the time they were on. There were some characters who were the main, and I thought their story was off, especially there's a love interest, and I was like, ugh. Okay, we're here, but fair dues. Now, some people are still going to get offended. If you are a religious person, I think you might get offended with this movie because they basically just shit all over religion, just a little bit. But I can see where some people could just be completely off with that. The villain in this film is very forgettable. It's unfortunately, when you have a villain that is mainly CGI monster looking, they don't do anything. Sometimes their personality doesn't allow you to explore it as much as if it was a human. The only exception was when they had Thanos, but we had people talk about him from previous films beforehand. I do feel like this film probably worked as a series, and because there's so much characters in the movie, as I said, some characters only get to shine, they only get so much screen time, and some are in the back and they don't really get to do much, but for what they do get, they do their best for what they're given, and it was great to at least get a moment with each of them. But probably would have worked if it was on a, you know, on a TV series where you could explore, or, you know, maybe it's 2 films, maybe they do part 1 and part 2. Maybe that would have worked, and you would have got into more details with, you know, who these people are and what they're doing, what their background, and, you know, have a proper connection, as we've had with other previous films with other characters. As much as I thought this film was different, and it does take on so many elements where I thought, okay, they're doing something, exploring something that we haven't seen in a Marvel movie, the film can't help itself. It almost feels like the director was having a battle with, you know, the Marvel producers, like, okay, I want to do this. Like, yeah, that's fine, you could do that, but don't forget, you got to do this, and this is going to link to this because we're setting up for another movie and another phase 4 and 5 and 6, whatever phase they're on now. And yeah, so there are times where it's just going back and forth, and it can't decide what, you know, what type of story it wants to tell. And the MCU, you know, formula gets in the way of the story for the most part. And the last act of the film, as you expect, it's a typical generic, you know, CGI battle. You know, you've seen this before. You know what to expect. But I was entertained for the most part. I think people are gonna have a good time. It is a bit of a slower movie than the other MCUs, so there are moments where, you know, it just takes a break, takes a breather. You know, you get to see characters talk to each other, have drama between each other, conflict, and then it's like, oh, just to make sure the audience don't fall asleep or get bored. The ones who don't come for that, you know, throws in the action, the CGI, the superhero powers and all sorts. So it's all there. I like this one out of all the films that's come out in terms of the Marvel films we've had in cinema. We had 2 previously this year. But I think the audience may have liked the previous one, which I didn't like as much. So on that note, I think it's still going to be a good time. You know, prepare yourself for the you know, formulaic Marvel typical movie that you get for the most part. But as I said, it's still a fun time. It's not the best. I don't think I don't think this would be a rewatchable film I just put on, you know, when I'm chilling in the house, you know, looking at my phone or whatever. I think this would be one I watch from time to time. But I said it's definitely worth to go and see on the big screen. If you can see on IMAX, I think it looks gorgeous. Some of the shots look so nice, and, you know, in terms of style, it's different on that point, but it's just not different enough. And I wish they just let the director, you know, go into more of her bag. You know, some of her like famous way she shoots things. Just let her go and just let her do more. And they should just find another director. But I appreciate what was on the screen. And at that point, I'm going to give this film a 7.5 out of 10. Good effort for the most part in terms of trying to do something a bit different. But as I said, the MCU formula, which I'm still a fan of, but, you know, if you're repeating the same thing again and again and again, it starts to lose its magic. And I'm just wanting Marvel to just really try something completely different. And I feel like they're still chasing the Endgame bag. Since Endgame, I feel like everything in terms of movie-wise has been a bit off. And I just want something completely different. The series have been fantastic. I've loved them because they've done something. They've had time to flesh out characters and motives and try something different. But the movies are just lacking at the moment, and I just want them to just do something completely different. So, are you going to watch this movie? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, it's a really silly question. I know everyone's going to watch this. It's a Marvel film. People are going to watch this movie. But what is your, who are you looking forward to see, one of the actors in the movie? Because I know some people don't know some of the characters. But let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching my video. Much appreciated. There's other ones here from previously, and there'll be more on the way as well. Guys, remember to like, share, stay blessed, stay geeked. Bye-bye.